President Trump is finishing a short but significant trip to Poland. This morning, he praised the country's president and called for the world to confront North Korea's nuclear threat.
Then the president spoke to the Polish people, praising how they kept their culture and warning about threats to Western society.
On both sides of the Atlantic, our citizens are confronted by yet another danger, one firmly within our control. This danger is invisible to some, but familiar to the Poles. The steady creep of government bureaucracy that drains the vitality and wealth of the people. The West became great, not because of paperwork and regulations, but because people were allowed to chase their dreams and pursue their destinies.
The president just wrapped up his speech and is now heading to Hamburg, Germany, to meet with world leaders at the G20 summit. Major Garrett is in Warsaw with what the president had to say. Major, good morning.
Good morning. The president said Poland is an example of courage in the face of oppression. He specifically praised Poland's historic but ultimately unsuccessful resistance to Nazi occupation and its persistent efforts throughout the Cold War to undermine Soviet dominance here and throughout Europe. In his speech, Mr. Trump also hailed Poland as one of the few NATO nations that annually meets its defense spending obligations. And by the way, he praised it for buying billions of dollars of U.S.-made weapons. The president also criticized Russia's invasion of Crimea in Ukraine and backing regimes in Syria and Iran. Earlier, Mr. Trump met with the Polish president, Andrzej Duda, whose government has been criticized in some quarters of Europe for limiting press freedom and judicial independence. On North Korea, the president said he is considering, quote, very severe things in response to the test of an intercontinental ballistic missile. That is technology that could reach the U.S. with a nuclear weapon. And ahead of tomorrow's first meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Mr. Trump said Russia and other unnamed countries meddled in the 2016 presidential election. In the end, the president said, quote, nobody really knows the source of the cyber intrusions, even though at the highest levels of the U.S. intelligence community, they have concluded Moscow was to blame. And in a nation where press freedoms are in flux, the president eagerly criticized the U.S. media and former President Obama. American presidents traveling abroad typically uphold American values such as press freedom and the institution of the presidency. Mr. Trump, for his own reasons, did not. Jeff?
Major Garrett, thank you very much.